That's one monster forest fire.
Can't fire my ass.
That ain't no fire, man.
He's dead! Get out! Get the hell out of here!
Mr. Walton, can you tell me what they look like? Can you tell me how many of them there were?
Did you see the Terrifier 2 trailer?
Oh, you know I did. I've seen it multiple times now. And I think
you
we both
just had
like
to
it.
rewatch it.
Yeah, because I didn't remember. I remembered glimpses of it. Or, like, I remember that there was, like, a brunette in it. And she was worried about the Terrifier. And that he was
Terrifier.
back. Yes.
I want to
It's
line in the
John
movie.
Terrifier.
I'm just so worried about the Terrifier. He's gonna come back somehow. The Terrifier's back somehow.
Oh, wait, his name's Art, right? It's
Yeah, Art the Clown.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
He writes it in shit. No, yeah, I love Terrifier, and I believe this was supposed to come out last October, but due to COVID, it got delayed. But I'm excited because Damien Leone, like, that was it. And he said that he tried to basically make it as, like, the most demented as possible. So I'm all in.
The first one was already very demented.
It's very fucked up. Like,
it is.
The first kill, a woman gets actually, no, it's not the first. It's like the second kill, but a woman gets sawed in half from, like, the vagina all the way down to her head.
That's right, because she's like hanging upside down.
Yeah,
right?
that's the iconic scene.
I remember that one.
Yeah, but I just think Art is like one of the more recent slashers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's just more original than I think a lot. Where I like the idea that he's like a mime and like he doesn't talk. So like when he gets hit, he doesn't like make noises.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about it, like, what makes Art so, like, much more watchable, or I guess more interesting, and I realized is, like, he doesn't necessarily have, he's very similar to Michael Myers, where he's just pure evil, you know? Like, you have, like, killer, like, Jason, like, you can garner some sympathy, early on, you know, because, like, oh, he didn't ask to be, like, drowned by these kids, you know? Freddy Krueger, mother raped by a bunch of inmates and he grew up fucked up, you know? But, like, Art has no backstory. There's no nothing. He is just an insane person, and he's probably more than human considering he came back to life in the last film.
He dies. How does he die at the end of the last one?
He gets I watch this movie every year. How am I blanking on it? I know he gets like run over, shot.
Yeah, I remember him getting shot a lot.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure just because his head blasted.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but yeah, then he wakes up in the body bag and kills the guy at the end.
Oh, that's right. I do remember that part. Yeah, now that you mention it. Okay.
But no, yeah, but Terrifier has, ever since I watched it in like 2016, like every October comes around, I rewatch Terrifier.
That is a really good Halloween movie. It's like
it
perfectly spooky.
It is. And I showed my dad, and my dad's a huge Terrifier head now.
Really?
He loves it. Yeah, he loves art. So we bond over that. We're like, hey, remember when he sawed that woman in half from her vagina? We bond over that.
I think part of what makes art so unique for me too is like when I think of like new horror icons or attempts at them, they're always like really like serious or like sympathetic in some way.
Art's funny.
Yeah, Art is like, he's like Freddy Krueger in that he makes jokes without talking, I guess.
Yeah, he's like chaotic.
Yeah.
And there's just so many little details. Like, I love how he carries around like a garbage bag full of just weapons.
Oh yeah.
like everything about him is so chaotic.
And he also just roam around on the street, from what I remember, right?
He just does
People
whatever.
will just see him like walk into like a restaurant.
Yeah, that was like the whole thing. And and I like him because he's just creepy.
Yeah,
like he fucks around. Like he'll start a bit. Not a lot of killers start bits.
No,
and that's what I like about Art.
The only other one I could think of is like maybe Chucky and Freddy. That's like about it. They'll like do bits and shit.
Freddy does commit to bits because he'll make the dream worlds and all that. He'll role play.
Mm-hmm. He'll turn you into a giant pizza.
Yeah.
Right? Didn't that happen?
Hell yeah. Yeah. He turned himself to a giant worm and ate a kid.
Oh yeah, that one is a fucked up one.
The TV, when he turned himself into a TV.
It's prime time, bitch.
Yeah, it's prime time, bitch. Dream Warriors is my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street.
It's definitely the best sequel. I will say that.
It's the most fun.
Yeah. The other one I might like more than that one is New Nightmare, because that one is like so fucking weird. But like
I think that's a hot take that you got there.
Really?
I know a lot of people fucking hate that movie.
I thought it was refreshing for that franchise. I don't know, but then it also is like, because it feels very similar, because it came out like right around when Scream was big.
Yeah.
So it feels like they're just aping off the success of that. Yeah. So I don't know.
I think that was a lot of slashers in the 2000s.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like Halloween's attempt at that was Resurrection.
Ugh.
Because that was right around.
Attempt is putting it nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I think this kind of just proves our point, though, that there's no real new slashers around.
No, definitely not.
And especially none that hit mainstream.
Oh, yeah.
Other than, I wouldn't consider Pennywise, and I don't really consider that, like, new. It's just more like a new interpretation.
Yeah, because he's always been around, you know?
Yeah.
And the new Pennywise is also kind of boring to me.
So I like yeah. I like the first one, but he's definitely overdone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just remember seeing almost half of Hot Topic is just Pennywise shit. And I'm like, okay. You know,
maybe we're going a little too far.
It lost its cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we can say on this podcast we endorse Art the Clown.
Oh yeah, maybe we'll talk about the first one at some point.
Yeah,
because I think it's a movie we both really like. I know it's one you recommended to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I rewatch it every year.
Mm-hmm.
I love Terrifier. It's just a good time.
That's a good one.
It's a fun little movie, as I describe it. And people watch it, they're like, "Oh, that fun little movie you described involved a woman getting sawed in half and a man wearing another woman's skin, and a guy's head getting turned into a jack-o'-lantern."
Yeah, just fun stuff.
Just fun little movie.
I guess it's fun comparatively to what you might normally watch.
It's more fun than Halloween Kills.
I mean, yeah, that's true. It's also more fun than the movie we're going to talk about today. That's for sure.
Yeah. I would say this movie we're going to talk about a bit of a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah, I was disappointed with this because I chose this movie.
Wait, hang on.
What?
I was saying it was a bummer as in, like, the subject matter was depressing.
Oh.
But we need to crack into this here. We need to crack into this right now because I have been thrown a curveball.
Oh my
Did you
God.
or did you not like this movie?
I thought it was okay.
I really enjoyed this.
Really? Oh, okay.
Like, I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Okay.
I did not expect it. Well, first of all, we watched Fire in the Sky. We should probably say that before. Yeah, we should probably mention the name of the movie before we argue with each other for 10 minutes. No, No, but you told me you're like, I want to watch this movie, and I was like, okay, alien movie. I've still been in that Nope mindset. I've been thinking about Nope ever since, especially now that's on digital. People are like posting scenes and shit like that, so I've been watching.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, like this is a horror movie. Like I'm an hour in, and I didn't see anything that crazy, and then the scene hits. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, this is a horror movie now. And then the ending happened, and I was like, dude, the balls on this movie. I don't know. I thought it was awesome, and we'll get into why. But I'm curious, why were you disappointed? Or I guess it didn't live up to your expectations.
Oh, well, like, I was like, I was in the same mindset as you, where like I saw Nope, and I was like, I would kind of be in the mood for like a little alien movie, like where like little humanoid little freaks run around,
Yeah.
So, and then I kept hearing about this movie specifically. For some reason, I've seen a bunch of social media posts about this and like how fucked up it is, and like specifically like the horror subreddit. So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is worth a shot. I had seen literally no scenes from it. Other than like maybe like a quick gif of the UFO, what happens inside the UFO near the middle. But yeah, I love that scene specifically.
Oh, that scene's incredible.
Yeah, that scene is like really genuinely horrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It captures not knowing what the fuck is going on perfectly.
Oh yeah. Like if I was in that situation, like I'd be scarred for life.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just didn't like, I guess, the way the movie was structured. And then I also, this might be a hot take. I did not realize this going into this movie, but I don't really like, especially horror movies that are based on a true story, because like they always like fabricate.
They have to exaggerate it. Yeah.
Yeah, they always fabricate and change like what actually happened to like make it more exciting. Like the ones I can think of are like the Conjuring movies.
Oh, yeah, those are just scam artists.
Oh yeah.
Those are just actual scam artists abusing people going through grief.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you watch the movie and it's like there's like legitimate ghosts, and like at the end like the house is like exploding, and they're like,
Well, yeah, it's like that Amityville too. Amityville Horror. The house literally just fucking blows up, and there's a goop puddle. I'm like, I don't think that black goop puddle existed.
No. And then you read the real story, and all that happened was like a chair moved one time, and then a door slammed shut.
And it's always some like old Southern guy.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, is it true that the ghost picked up your wife and spun her around and made her puke? And he's like, well, I saw the chair move a little bit, and let me tell you, that scared the bejesus out of us. I called my priest, and we got out of there. And then that's like the extent of the story.
Right, yeah. So, but I mean, I will say that I didn't have a problem with that with this, but what I did have a problem with was the other part of always basing things off of true stories, no matter what genre it is, really. Right. Like, especially with this, it felt like the people involved inserted themselves into the story a lot, where it was like, I felt like you could have told a more interesting story with this. But like you had to like, but like it felt like the people, I didn't find any production history that confirms this. So this is just me speculating. But like, it felt like the guy was like, oh, I have to be portrayed this way. I have to be like a good tragic figure or something, rather than like showing him as like a real human being. I don't know, because this is what I didn't know anything about the true story going into this, so this sounds terrible. But once I saw it, it was based on a true story. I was hoping that appeared that no one ever found him. Oh, like he just was gone forever.
Like it's like an actual mystery,
right? Yeah, and so you don't
like
know
it's
what
a
happens.
weird thing that happened,
right? Yeah, and people. Like guys say it looked like he got abducted by a UFO, and like then there could be the intrigue of like, oh, do you think that they just killed him out there?
Actually kill him.
Yeah, and they're just coming up with like this story. But then it's like the guy shows up and you find out what that happens in real life too. It's like, I don't know. It was just kind of like weird. It was just, I don't know. What did you think?
Well, I actually liked the structure a lot. Like, I really loved the bar scene, like kind of recalling what happened.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the characters were a bit exaggerated, like the Dallas guy and that detective guy.
Yeah.
I felt like they were a bit over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I genuinely liked Mike, the main guy. I thought I guess I liked that it focused more on them, like the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Travis did come back, like focusing on, I guess, like his mental state.
Yeah.
You know, and again, it's almost like a very similar thing, trope in these movies based on true stories. It's all about the media covering it, overhyping it, mixing up the facts. But overall, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I really liked everything. I honestly don't have a lot of bad things to say.
Oh my god, I feel like an asshole.
Yeah, fuck you. You wanted that guy to get killed by aliens.
I know, because I was like, oh, that'd be like really interesting to like not know if it was aliens or not, and then you have to like figure out what you think based on their actions or something.
But then you just go on Wikipedia and find out that the guy is okay.
Yeah, the guy's just fine. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast a few years ago.
Yeah, he's okay. He's doing good. Well, let's talk about, I guess, kind of what this movie is about. But Fire in the Sky is a true story. Oh, let me air quotes true story. About Travis Walton, who was a lumberjack, who ran into a UFO with his workers, and he was abducted for 5 days and then sent back. And that's what this movie's about.
Mm-hmm.
But I think majority of the movie is the other lumberjacks kind of trying to disprove, like, everyone thinks they murdered their friend.
Right.
And they're trying to disprove it.
Yeah, that's where I thought that was like untapped potential with that. Because I was thinking of like, what are other things? Like, I was thinking of like the Clove Hitch Killer while watching this.
Right.
Where like that movie's clearly based on BTK. Right?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, almost
but, like,
all of it.
But it's not. The characters are different. The
Right.
situation is different. But
so
like
you wanted them to kind of go more down that approach than like a biopic.
Right? Yeah. Like that trying to stay completely true to it, because like. And then, because I was thinking that, I don't know, maybe I'm just stupid and I was just like wanting the movie to be the idea I had in my head rather than just liking it for what it was. Yeah.
You wanted that one scene in Nope with the little alien people.
I did. No, I got that. I liked that part. But then
you
I
got
was
that
like,
a lot.
Yeah, I liked my idea that I had in my head more than what the actual movie was. Where like, it's like, you don't even know if he was abducted. You don't even really see it. You're just going off of like their word.
Yeah, because he just got like knocked over.
Yeah.
And like, then he's like, nope, didn't see him.
Yeah.
He's gone.
It could have been like they killed him out there or some, like, I was thinking even like the altercation between those two at the beginning, those two that hated each other.
Dallas and Travis.
Yeah, like he could have like killed him and then they're trying to cover it up so no one goes to jail. I don't know.
Yeah.
But let's talk about what the movie for what it actually is rather than what my weird idea of it is.
your weird obscured warped perspective of it.
Yeah. So I was actually thinking before we talk about exactly what happens in the movie and what happens to Travis Walton that maybe we would talk about like what the supposed true story is.
Yeah, sure.
Because, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, he was actually on the Joe Rogan podcast.
I watched those videos.
Enough. Yeah, I watched like 25 minutes worth of him on there. And it was interesting because I watched it after I watched the movie. So it was really interesting to see how he acted in real life and like what he's really like. And it was just really interesting to hear what he had to say about it all. I will say though, I definitely get more of the impression that he is full of it after watching that interview.
Yeah. But all right, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Do you believe him?
No, not really.
Really? Interesting. So not only do you want this guy dead, but you also don't believe him.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm mixed. But I will say, okay, you know me. I'm not a believer, right?
Yeah.
I don't believe in anything supernatural. Ghosts, spirits, weird like phenomenons. I enjoy that stuff. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do believe is in aliens. I will say that. And I think that kind of lets me lean in more with him. But my reasoning for where I believe him is that I looked at like numerous articles and sources of him talking. All the stories are the same.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting. Because usually people that will make a fake story trip up. Where they will maybe exaggerate. And I feel like he doesn't exaggerate.
Yeah.
And he is genuine when he says that. I honestly don't know how to describe it. And I think what helps me believe him a bit more is that when Joe Rogan does a lot, he's like asking him to describe, like Joe Rogan is basically just trying to get what does an alien look like out of this man, right? But Travis keeps talking about how he felt. And I think that is very interesting because I feel like when you have a story of being abducted by aliens, you are going to tell it. Where I feel like Travis is a little reserved, but he always like says like words like devastated, confused, stuff like that. So that's where I kind of fall into where I'm more on like I believe maybe not exactly what the movie is or maybe not his exact story, but I think something happened.
Yeah.
I think, and maybe something incomprehensible happened. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Sure.
Is it aliens? I don't know. But something happened. But it's just, he gives, I don't know. He doesn't come off like the people that make up like fake shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That try to sell a story.
I do think, yeah, he does come off very earnestly, and like he doesn't seem like a charlatan, really.
He just seems like a nice Southern boy, you know?
Yeah.
Like a good old down to earth guy.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
But those are the things that just make me, I think, more on his side because he doesn't play up the theatrics of it.
Yeah,
which is very interesting.
I guess my problem with this story comes into the actual story of it.
Yeah.
Because like it like hits a lot of like alien abduction cliche stories you hear all the time from people who have allegedly been abducted. And also I never got the impression that what he was telling Joe Rogan during that interview, maybe it's because he's just told it so many times over the years, but I never got really the impression that it was like, he didn't act like it was traumatic what happened to him, or like he just kind of said it was. And like, that's very easy for someone to do. I don't know. And he also, and part of it was his body language as well, because he wasn't looking Joe in the eye at all when he was talking to him. I don't know if you noticed that, but he was like looking like off into space. And like Joe wasn't even looking at him at a certain point because it was like so awkward. He would look at Joe every once in a while.
I'm sure he's had to tell that story so many times. Yeah. He's probably sick of it.
He probably is. Like,
everyone just goes like, "Hey, can you tell that like most traumatic memory of your entire life?" Probably the most if true, the most traumatic thing any human being has ever experienced. Can you just tell me that story? You know?
Yeah, that's true. But if I guess we should just tell kind of what the gist of the story was, to our listeners out there. I got a brief like synopsis of it, and I'm gonna read it out. So yeah, basically, it's pretty much exactly like the movie. It starts out, he's a logger. They're on a contract to go cut down a bunch of trees in the forest and set them up to be burned by the forest preserve personnel. Where they basically, I guess, just throughout the year, just come and do controlled burns of all these trees that are dead or are not supposed to be there. That's what they're out there for, and like they're kind of a big group of guys, I guess. Big group of manly, like 80s men.
Bunch of men.
Yes. So they're out there for a day in Arizona, I think specifically. They're just driving back home. It's been a long day. And I guess through the trees, they see a giant like red light coming through the tree line on the side of the road. So they all think it's a fire, I guess. And they just kind of don't really pay attention much to it.
He mentioned that he thought maybe it was like hunters.
Yeah.
Like making camp for the night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which I guess it was hunting season around then, so it wouldn't be out of the
Wasn't
ordinary.
too big of a deal.
Yeah.
But they said he said it was just like so bright.
Yeah.
They were like, it can't be anything. Like it had to be like a forest fire or something.
Right. Yeah, because as they got closer to it, they saw it got more and more unusual to them how bright it was. And I guess they just pull up right to it in a clearing where this giant saucer, he describes it as like a typical saucer that you hear of in pop culture. And then for no reason at all, he decides to get out of the car and like go up and under it. And then, I guess he describes it as a white light. It struck him, and then he blacked out.
It's God.
And so then I guess from there, his friends, the people he was just working with in the vehicle, the movie kind of describes that they're so afraid to go out and get him when he was lying on the ground there, presumably unconscious, that they just kind of go and try to get out of there as fast as they can, which I guess I don't blame him.
I would. Oh,
yeah.
I'm going to let you know right now, if we're under a flying saucer and you get knocked out by that thing, I'm gone. I'm going to tell you right now.
All right, that's good to know.
Like that's on you.
Okay.
You got out of the truck.
I'll make sure not to get out of a car when we're near a flying saucer.
If we're driving and we see giant red lights, we're not investigating.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, I guess from there he was like drifting in and out of consciousness for a while, and he didn't really know what was happening. But then the part that he remembers happening is that he like wakes up on a table in like a really humid and hot room. So then he kind of looks around after he hears rustling next to him, and then he sees that this table that he's lying on is surrounded by 3 alien creatures, and he says they resembled like the typical alien where they're like gray, and their skin was white,
like black eyes, big cranium.
Yeah, exactly.
The one thing that I thought was very interesting, he said they were very light, like when he pushed one.
Yeah, because that's what happens next. He kind of like is scared, like anyone would be in that situation, and he like pushes one next to him out of the way into another one, and he describes it like they were like extremely light. I guess he remarked on the fact that he felt so weak that he thought it was weird that he was able to push one over that easily. Yeah. So yeah, he knocked over those 2 aliens. And then this is what's funny about it to me. I read this in a quote somewhere. He said that the aliens held up their hands in a familiar "relax, man" gesture.
Relax, man. Like I can imagine them just putting both their hands up, like, "Hey, dude."
I know. Yeah, that's what I'm
like,
picturing.
What the hell?
Like, dude, we're just trying to have a party. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We're about to play beer pong.
Yeah. What the hell? Why are you spazzing?
So then he goes down a hallway and enters another room, and he described the room as being large and round with just a single chair in the middle. He approached the chair and noticed it had some levers and screens on the armrests. The interesting thing about this room is that the stars were visible through the walls. All around him, he was surrounded by stars. Thinking that the chair might be his way out, he started smashing buttons on it.
Nice.
Yeah, which is funny. I think anyone does that when they're playing a new game. Just push every button.
Yeah, what does this button do?
Yeah. So yeah, he flips some lever on the left side of the chair, and then the stars start to like zoom past him. So he assumes it's like a navigational room.
He was like flying it.
Yeah. So then this is where it gets like kind of weird and surreal and creepy. So
all right.
After he does that, he looks up from the chair and he sees a man standing in the doorway that he just came into this room from. But he says it was different looking than the other aliens he'd experienced before. And he describes him as a man, not as an alien. He said it looked like a man, like the body, but like the eyes were like much larger than they normally would be. So then, like he did earlier, he screams and hollers at this figure, but the figure doesn't answer him and just stares back at him and smiled.
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah. So then I guess Travis just decides to follow this guy out of the room because he turns around and leads him somewhere.
Sure, he's a friend.
Yeah, I guess. And so I guess he leads him by the arm. That's what it says. But they go past like a hangar-like building where Travis, I guess, sees several crafts, like the one that brought the one that him and his slogger friend saw that took him. Mm-hmm. So then this is where he surmises that he's in like a mothership rather than the exact ship that they saw on the ground, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And so he thinks like, oh, it could be a base or like another planet, as well as a mothership. But anyway, so they go to another room, and then then this weird guy with big eyes and Travis are approached by two more men and a woman, all with long blonde hair.
Okay.
So now apparently they're just like human-looking people with like big eyes. Yeah. So then in typical Travis fashion, he starts screaming and hollering at them, desperately wanting to know where he was and what they wanted from him. But of course, just like the other men that he met first, they just stare at him and smile.
Were they shape-shifting?
I mean, they could be. I don't know. Like this reads like it's like they're like shape-shifting into something he finds more familiar, so he's not as like aggressive. That's what it seems like, which is interesting. But yeah, then after that, they place some kind of mask over Travis's face, and I guess that's where he got the memory of feeling like he was being suffocated, because that's what they put on his face. Which they
show in the movie. Right,
yeah. And then that's all he remembers about being on the ship, allegedly, is that then he wakes up in Heber, Arizona. He calls his friend Mike, which you see in the movie. Yeah. And then, they go find him. They track him down at a payphone in the middle of nowhere, and he's naked.
Mm-hmm. One thing I thought was funny, I was reading like a paragraph from his book, and I know the book was probably written by someone else, like just retelling his story, but there's like a point that like was a bit over the top, where like it was once he like got himself off like whatever that operating table was, he said he grabbed some kind of like tool, and it was like a cylinder, but he was backed in a corner and he yelled, "Damn you, aliens!" And I was like, yeah, I don't think he said that.
Who is he, William Shatner?
Yeah. Yeah. So I just thought that part was funny.
It is funny. It's it feels a little bit too much to me. Like if it was true, it feels like he's pulling from a lot of different pop culture sources and like cliches.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but one thing I hate about alien abduction stories like this is how somehow the person who is telling the story always gets out and is like able to run around the ship. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that happens so much.
That's a good point.
Because it's like, and then he can like, he sees all this stuff and he can describe it to people like it's a movie or something, you know. When in reality, if an alien captures you and they have more advanced technology, I highly doubt that like some normal human guy is going to be able to escape.
To like wake up and
and like run around the ship like Star Wars or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a little bit too far fetched to me.
He's like, I put on one of their alien suits and I pretended to be working on the computer room.
Yeah, that was funny. Oh my god.
Yeah. My one thing that to where I think it also could be fake is that he's alive.
Oh yeah, that's my thing too. Yeah,
not from the aliens, but from the government. You think the government would immediately execute him?
Oh yeah, like right? you think he would be taken and never seen again?
The Men in Black. Do you know about the Men in Black?
I've heard stories about them.
They're
I don't
evil.
know much, really.
Well, there's lots of theories about him, but basically the Men in Black, you have an alien encounter. Okay, let's say you got abducted.
Mm-hmm.
You pop back up the next day. You tell your story to whatever media platform, local newspaper, you go on a show, whatever. You say, hey, I got abducted by aliens. The Men in Black will visit you, and the Men in Black are tall, white, bald men in suits that will basically come to your house and ask you questions. But they will know a lot of information about you that there's no way they like could have known just from meeting you, you know?
Yeah.
Like they will know your full name. They'll know your family history. They'll know all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And they apparently don't act like real humans. Like there's just something a bit off about them.
No. Yeah.
And basically they just threaten you. And they say, hey, stop talking this alien shit, you know? And they'll leave. They'll basically tell you if you don't stop talking, we'll kill you.
Oh my god.
There's two theories about this. One, they are aliens. The other one, which is more likely, is they're actually purposely acting that way by the US government, not to silence these people, but to actually make them less credible.
Oh.
Because these people are already right. Let's say you come out, you say I got abducted by an alien. Already 80% of the people listening are not going to believe you, right?
Yeah.
However, 20% will. Let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you add on these crazy men with suits came and visited me, blah, 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 like you are already creating more like discredibility.
Okay.
So that is like the theory that they're actually by the government and they're like that purposely.
Huh. That one seems more realistic to me.
Yeah.
That second one.
And that is why a lot of people are, I guess it's more of a trope. I don't know how true it is. Like, you know, alien people are always like crazy recluse.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they live alone. They're like spitting out crazy stuff. They wrote like a 20,000 page book on their experience or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's where that comes from. The Men in Black. They're
Interesting.
evil.
I never
Why
knew
did
that.
they get a
that
hold of
theory.
Travis?
Yeah, what the hell? The movie hints at that, I guess, that that one guy. What is he from? Like some aerial program?
Oh, yeah, like
that-
the UFO. But he's
Yeah.
like not government. He's just like a guy. He's just like a weirdo.
Yeah. Yeah, he seemed like some random dude. Maybe it was his own startup UFO research program.
Yeah,
He's
it seemed
starting
like
his own
that.
business.
Yeah, but like they seem like more established than just guys that like aliens.
That's probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to believe Travis. I'm feeling nice today.
You're pro
Travis Walton. If you're listening to this, I believe you.
I don't.
Let me say this
Yeah.
that I think I've told you about this. I have an uncle that's a trucker.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
he has had many alien encounters.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe his stories. Not because my uncle, but they're very simple. I don't know if that's like way of putting it.
Yeah.
But there have been other witnesses that I also would trust that have seen it with him.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it's nothing crazy like getting abducted. It's just like seeing something you can't explain.
Oh. Right.
So I believe I have like a personal connection to this. I believe, you know. So did it happen the exactly way Travis Walton describes it? I don't think so.
Yeah,
however,
maybe not.
However, I do believe something happened.
Mm-hmm. I do. I definitely. Yeah. I think the most. I always am a believer of the most likely thing is probably most reasonable explanation is probably
That's
what
how
happened.
I am with like ghosts and the paranormal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely think, and this is my headcanon, right? Because we'll never know for sure. But I think
know.
him and his logger buddies were like, oh, hey, there's all this alien craze going on. Like what?
Yeah.
Like what if we don't tell anyone else of our family and we all pretend like you got abducted, and then you go off and like stay in a hotel for 5 days or whatever, and then you come back, and then we bring witnesses with us who weren't there when you disappeared, so they could see the state you're in. Like I feel like that's like the most likely explanation.
See, that's I read a theory of that because I guess 2 weeks ago or before the thing happened, Travis mentioned watching a thing on like alien encounters, and he was like fascinated.
Really? Oh wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
My thing is, I don't think that 6 dudes can like just go along with that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But here's the thing. Here's the thing you're not mentioning: the lie detecting tests.
Oh yeah.
They all passed except for one. But the fact that all of them had, and I know lie detecting tests have basically kind of been somewhat discredited because you can fake them. But I don't think like 6 good old boy lumberjacks can do that. You know, the fact that they all had the same story and they all passed to some degree.
Oh sure.
Is credible to the story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. That's the part that I think makes it credible to most people is the whole lie detector thing. And like, yeah, I can't explain that. That's the thing that I'm like, it's kind of weird. But I mean, you can also just say like, oh yeah, lie detector tests are like, they don't work 100%. They're not even allowed in court anymore, really, because they can be so finicky, and there's so many ways apparently you can
people
circumvent them. Yeah, I read some interviews about this specific story and like how he could have done it, but apparently just holding your breath.
Yeah, I read that.
During it can like really like throw off the results and make it seem like you're not lying.
But my thing is also, this is what, the 80s? They don't have the access to this information like we do today.
That is true, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's one of those. It's a mystery. It's an interesting mystery to think about. It is.
It's fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like this.
Should we talk about the actual movie a little bit?
We should probably talk about the movie.
Yeah, probably.
We've just been going back and forth about our beliefs in the world beyond.
But yeah, I mean, the movie, it's literally that story I read earlier, but the big difference in what makes this movie, I think, great, more than it would be if they just did it exactly what Travis had described, is the UFO part.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's one of the most disturbing things in any sci-fi I've ever seen, probably.
Yeah. I did not expect it to go full torture porn. And there's like a lot of cool stuff.
Oh god, yeah, like it's just so like creative.
Spoilers ahead. We're just gonna go into it.
Yeah.
Spoilers ahead. If you want to be surprised, go watch the movie now. It's on Prime at the moment. I don't think for much longer.
No, yeah.
Probably by the time this is up, I saw there's only like 6 days.
Yeah.
But find a way to watch this movie through legal means.
Yes, please.
And yeah, we're gonna get into the alien bits. So it starts with him waking up in a pot of goo. And already I love it. It's like alien cum.
Yeah, that's really what it looks like.
Yeah, it's like curdled alien cum. And he's able to break out through like, it's almost like a thin like cloth. I don't know really how to describe it.
Yeah.
But he breaks out and falls, but it's like zero gravity. But it's like the room is almost like a big tube.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just all these other pods. And some of them are broken into, some of them are closed. There's even a point because he's like trying to figure out how zero gravity works. He like accidentally flies into one of them and goes face first into like a dead guy's remains.
Oh god, yeah, that was fucked up.
That was gross.
I like that detail.
And I really liked that they had floating was his car key or like his motorcycle key.
Oh, I didn't even notice
And
that.
yeah, it was his motorcycle key and he was
Wow.
like going to grab it. And I think that's a very interesting choice because like you don't need that. You know? But I mean, I think it's like, oh, this is the only thing that's recognizable to me right now.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
I need it. Even though it doesn't matter. But yeah, he eventually falls into the room with the aliens. And the aliens grab him. And there's a shot of him getting dragged, and as he's dragging the tunnel, you see basically all like the knickknacks and things people probably got like abducted with.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
that
like
was
stuffed
cool.
animals, keys, wallets. Very similar to like Nope.
Yeah. Yeah.
With all the stuff falling.
It reminded me a lot of Nope in that part. And that's what I think is just so unique about this, the design for the alien spaceship is like, normally when you see like alien spaceships in media, it's like they're always like it's like always like super clean, like sci-fi
Super
environment,
sci-fi.
right? Like very
Organized.
metallic, yeah. And
Yeah.
then this is just like dirt
No.
and like all this shit
Yeah.
all over the floor everywhere, and the walls look like organic and like weird and dirty.
Yeah, I love organic looking spaceships.
yeah.
I
yeah.
like. We need more ships made of flesh.
We do.
You know?
I
Yeah,
agree.
everything, like there's garbage everywhere, there's just bones, there's carcasses,
Mm-hmm.
there's just poop and cum everywhere. Like, it's cool. It's terrifying too.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
you're thinking these are very sophisticated life forms, right? They're able to travel space.
Mm-hmm.
Yet they just don't clean up after themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's scary.
It's almost like the implication to me that like if like I'm presuming they were experimenting on him because he's a being that they don't know about, but like that they just like leave all their belongings on the floor like garbage.
Yeah.
It makes you
Yeah.
think that you're just like animals to them. Like that's
Yeah,
part
you're
of
like-
it. Is
you're like an
that-
object.
that's so scary. Yeah, you're something we played with by all their tech.
And it really is when they're like getting the tools ready and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like they're almost like they're annoyed that he's struggling.
I know. The expressions on
But
their
yeah, I mean-
faces.
Yeah. And the aliens are, oh my god, I gotta talk about this because Carolina was watching this with me.
Yeah.
The aliens look like Joe Biden. Am I
That is
wrong?
so accurate. No, you're not wrong at
They
all.
look like Joe Biden. If Joe Biden's cranium like expanded.
It's something about the eyes and the way
It's the eyes.
the way
It's
his
the
head is
eyes and like
shaped.
the nose.
Yeah.
Like the eyes are like really close together. They're kind of like beady.
Oh, that's so funny.
And like they have like a really like long expression.
Yeah.
Hold on now, son. I'm just gonna drill into your eye here. Hold still. You wanna get some ice cream after this?
I think we created a new theory, a conspiracy theory about Joe. Maybe he is an alien.
Ooh, he is. That's why he's so bizarre and can barely get out
Yeah.
his sentences. Imagine. All right, it was probably the greatest and worst moment of like a Republican's life if they got abducted and the alien's Joe Biden. Because they're probably just like, yes, I was correct. He is an evil guy. And the other half is like, fuck, he's gonna kill me.
Yeah. He's thinking that as he's taking out like a saw to like cut open his
Yeah.
brain.
It's like, yeah, Ben Shapiro was right. He's like, I'm just gonna open up here, guy.
Oh no. What is your Joe Biden? He sounds like Matthew McConaughey or something.
I don't know, I'm just trying to think of like an old guy. Old guy that really likes ice cream.
Oh my god.
No, but yeah, that was what I immediately thought. I was like, why do they look like Joe Biden?
They do look like that. They really do.
Yeah, and they're in suits. The one thing they did get accurate to his story of the real Travis Walton is he was describing like their suits. He said they were basically in like a onesie. And he said when he touched one, he's like, it didn't feel like any fabric like he recognized or anything. Like, and he said there was no like grain or like seams.
Yeah.
And he said that was like really interesting. Like, there's no zippers, buttons, anything of like how they get in. And it covered like almost their whole body, like from the neck down.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's like, are they like exoskeletons maybe?
Oh.
Or something like that?
Yeah.
Almost like a snake sheds.
Mm-hmm. That would
Maybe
be
that.
interesting. If they were like part like metal or something like that. Well, he said it wasn't really metal, the suit, right? It was just kind of like...
No. He said he couldn't really describe it, but it was very smooth.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe it's some alien substance that like they're made of.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but they throw him on the table, and I think this was the coolest and scariest thing I've ever seen. Where to hold him down, they put this like stretchy, almost like skin over him.
Yeah.
And it just like sucks the air out, so it like vacuum seals him. And it covers his face. You can see him suffocating. And the scariest part is they take a knife just to cut out eye holes. But they did it's like in such like a haphazard way.
Mm-hmm.
Where like they're not even trying to make a nice precision. They're just like, okay, yeah, let's cut that open. You know? And it's like a centimeter from his eye.
Oh yeah.
And same with like his mouth. He just kind of shoved the knife in there to cut it open.
Yeah.
And then they threw a bunch of weird cum in his mouth too.
Oh god, yeah, they just like scooped up like it looks like a bunch of grease or some shit. They just like threw it in his mouth. I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah, and he's like choking on that, and then they're like locking his head in place, and then they're like setting up this drill that extends, and it's going like closer and closer to his eye.
Mm-hmm.
And right as it hits his eye, that's when they like cut away.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a great scene. It's like, the cinematography and everything about it is just like so anxiety inducing and it's just horrifying. I don't know, that whole situation.
And it's so different from the rest of the film too.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so effective, honestly.
Yeah. It's very similar to like the end of Annihilation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I could
where
see
you're
that.
just like, what is going on? You know?
It just becomes surreal out of nowhere.
Yeah, where this is just horrifying in a movie that's like, for the most part, a drama.
Yeah, it really is. Mystery drama.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that scene alone makes it like a horror movie.
Oh, yeah, it was more than worth it for that to watch just for that scene alone. Mm-hmm. Like I'll give you this point where I think if that scene was lame, I would have had different feelings on this movie. Oh, okay, sure, yeah, okay.
But that fucking ruled.
it does. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I guess it's just this whole structure of the movie is like weird to me. How it like cuts back and forth between before and after the abduction. Yeah. I could see how it might work, but I was feeling like it was doing that, but like you didn't really have enough time to build up the characters, you know? Like I felt like I didn't really care anymore about the Travis after like all of that. Like I felt like there wasn't enough really. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
You don't see much of Travis. You get more Mike.
Right, yeah. And I guess that's the point, because I think it's like Mike meant so much to Travis. Like, seeing
and it's
him gone.
kind of fucked up. Like, he's fucked up. Like, all of his friends that he's known his entire life are now blaming him for a murder and not believing him.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And the whole town, including his wife, are like going against him. And that's, I think, like the main theme of the movie. Maybe not like, don't just believe your friends, but maybe kind of like rationally go through with it. Don't go like with like hysteria and join like, you know, maybe don't maybe like use your own thoughts on people before you assume things.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
Because that was the thing. Everyone in the beginning was like, "Oh, Mike's a straight shooter guy. Known my entire life. I believe anything he says." And then the second this happens, everyone's like, "Yeah, that Mike guy kind of sucks, huh?" Yeah, I don't believe him. He's a liar.
He murdered his best friend in the woods.
He murdered his best friend for no reason. I believe that. The newspaper says that's happening, and I believe it. I did like that scene where they're all in the church gathering, and Mike's like calling out people, like that old lady.
Oh yeah,
like he's like, "Come on, Grandma," and she just kind of like puts her head down, like, "Oh."
Yeah, she's like shamed.
Yeah, he's like, "Say it to my face."
That was a good scene. See, I liked all of that stuff. I really did.
You liked all the stuff individually, but the way they put it together, you didn't care for it.
Yeah. I think that's where most of my issues with. Yeah, just the structure of it was weird to me. I really liked it though. I mean, I thought it was okay and like worth watching by the end of it, especially after that abduction scene.
I think it's definitely a more interesting abduction movie.
Oh yeah,
because like a lot of alien movies are just aliens are here, we gotta fight them. Mm-hmm. and that's where I thought this was gonna go, maybe.
Yeah,
because I forgot that it told me it was a true story. Mm-hmm. I didn't remember till the end where it was like Mike went off and blah, and I was like, oh what? Oh yeah, it was a true story. But I don't know. I expected something. Maybe they go and find the UFO or something like that. Something schlocky.
Oh, I see.
But when it ended just with like a tender moment between friends, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I did kind of like nice. That. How they don't even like try to delve into like why the aliens even did it. It's just like, yeah, it's just more concerned about the characters.
It was really just Travis concerned that he was losing a friend.
Right. Yeah.
And I like that they didn't even have a scene where he's like, come on, man. Like they weren't even like arguing. It was just him taking him to the spot, making a joke about it, and being like, okay, let's just go get some breakfast. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's how real guys are. We don't talk about our feelings. We make self-deprecating jokes. And then we eat meat. Or whatever.
Red meat. You know?
I know when I'm mad at my bro, I just eat a raw hamburger meat.
Oh, hell yeah. Don't even have to put it in a patty. You just strong it out into your mouth. Yeah.
I go out to the pasture and I bite a cow. So I'm a man.
You eat ice cream out of the container at night. I ate hamburger meat right out of the container at night, bro. Meat. Spooning it.
Yeah. You drink milk, I eat the udder.
Oh, yeah. I like how this spiraled into a talk about masculinity all of a sudden.
Yeah. Hey, that's the safe thing. You want a safe theme right now? Toxic masculinity. It's really easy to make fun of.
Yeah, it honestly is.
And I think this movie kind of does touch on that a little bit.
It does.
You know,
I think so.
Because they're big burly men. They're not supposed to talk about something so horrifying, and I think a lot of them are uncomfortable with it because they've seen things that clearly made them cry and have nervous breakdowns.
Oh yeah,
but they can't show that.
Mm-hmm. That's what I loved about that opening scene when they're going into the bar. Yeah, when they're at the bar
is really cool.
And like that bartender lady goes up to them like and expecting it to be like a normal interaction, but then she sees all their faces and how they're all like visibly like shook from what they saw.
And everyone's like, "Hey, Mike," and then he's just ignoring everyone.
Yeah, you like can't even talk. He doesn't know how to process his feelings at all about what just happened. It's like
I don't think you could.
No, it's disturbing. It would shake you for the rest of your life probably.
Yeah, I'm curious what the other guys, if they've had interviews and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't really look into what they thought about this whole thing. Really.
On like the Travis Walton website, there's like it was like meet the crew or whatever, and they have like quotes. Some of them are so lame. Some of them are just like, the light was red. That was it. So
Wow.
I don't know if that's just all they could get out of it.
Yeah.
Or what, but I don't know. I will say his website, which I'm sure he does not run at all, or have anything to do with, does kind of lean more on the exaggerated side.
Yeah, he's definitely probably trying to wring out as much money as he possibly can.
Hey, you know what? Hustler's gonna hustle. I respect Travis.
Yeah. You don't want to be cutting down logs till you're 90. So.
No. Yeah. I respect Travis. He's a good old boy. Overall, I would say we recommend this. I definitely would say if you watch Nope and you want a movie in the same ballpark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Check out Fire in the Sky.
Yeah, especially if you were like, maybe you wanted to see like just straight up like aliens and UFOs like abducting people.
Yeah.
Like this is, I can't think of another movie that's a horror movie like this that is as good as this one is, or as effective.
Yeah.
Like that does
Yeah,
the
I
same
agree.
type of subject matter is what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think what we liked most about Nope is kind of the focus more on the characters of it all.
Yeah.
Not so much a focus on show me the alien.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is what Fire in the Sky also does well.
Yeah.
Where it really teases your balls throughout the movie. But then when they give you the aliens, oh boy, do they give you aliens.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, because it really was more about the characters. Like, it's not about the aliens at all, really.
It's the characters. It's
yeah,
just
it's
what happens if this happens to a group of friends.
right. Yeah, how does this affect them? That's exactly what it's about, which makes it interesting.
Go watch Fire in the Sky wherever you can watch it. It's a good stuff. I do recommend looking into the Travis Walton story and kind of forming your own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's very interesting. There's lots of consistencies, lots of facts. I think on both sides of it. It's just a very interesting story.
Yeah.
There's really not, I don't think, many abduction stories where the dude is still here. You know, like
Yeah,
there's
it's
actually
true.
you can get it from the source, and you can use that, believe it however you want.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it makes for a really good mystery, movie or not.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So go watch Fire in the Sky and believe whatever the hell you want to believe, because I think that's the most fun
Yeah. Yeah.
thing about it. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.